Exploration work undertaken in the Albertine Graben confirmed the existence of reserves of oil in commercial quantities in Uganda during 2006. Estimates show that oil production could be sustained at around 150,000 barrels per day for 20 to 25 years based on the estimated reserves of 2.5 billion barrels.
Is going to generate a lot of revenue for this country, about $2 billion and more per year. So it's big.
This will expand the country's economic growth and development. Transparency, involvement of the civil society and management of expectations will ensure that oil revenue is not only used to reduce poverty and inequality, but to improve the quality of life for Ugandans. Equally important are having the right policies, building strong institutions to capture and manage revenue effectively. Above all, to adopt sound public investment policies. Publish What You Pay, Uganda, is implementing a project on promoting the equitable and transparent generation and allocation of Extractive's revenues for sustainable development in Uganda.
So the idea of the project is to ensure that the revenues that are collected, first of all, are effectively collected and mobilized, but also they are effectively deployed.
Publish What You Pay Uganda is part of the global network in Eastern and Southern Africa. It is being implemented in Uganda, Tanzania and Mozambique. It is funded by the Foreign Affairs Ministry of the Government of Finland. The project is looking at spearheading reforms, especially in budgeting processes of the revenue from the sector. Equitable and transparent generation and allocation of resources to improve service delivery and ensure sustainable development are key tenets of the project. But many Ugandans also worry about the paradox of plenty. Ugandans are looking forward to improved social services.
The whole process of utilizing this revenue. At the end of the day, to a normal Ugandan, ordinary Ugandan, I want to walk into a state-of-the-art hospital and to be able to receive the medical service that it takes, and I will feel associated with my country, and I will feel associated with probably the tax I pay, that I'm getting a service from my government. So at the end of the day, that's what many Ugandans are waiting for.
So our main appeal, that's why everyone is talking about, is hospital.
The Auditor General's Report 2019 indicated that the mineral sector alone should have raked in 10 billion shillings in revenue, but only half of that was collected.
That shows that we are not very vigilant when it comes to generating the necessary revenues that we are supposed to generate. And particularly because the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development has not put up the mine site inspectors to take stock of the daily production of the minerals.
Issues of transparency in this mineral sector is something that we are now really focusing on, because even the revenues, it is difficult because even the staffing is a bit of a challenge on our side.
Yes. Women are the ones in the mining areas. What's their benefit as people? How do they realize that they're benefiting something from their resource in taxation? Or the money is just brought from as a percentage to the district.
In line with the new mineral policy and mining legislation, government developed a mechanism for biometrically registering all artisanal and small-scale miners in the country. The value of minerals produced was worth Uganda shillings 158 billion and revenue amounting to Uganda shillings 16.7 billion was generated as non-tax revenue.
The government of Uganda has established fiscal policies that facilitate revenue collection and allocation. Some of them include the National Oil and Gas Policy 2008, Oil and Gas Revenue Management Policy 2012, Mining and Minerals Policy 2018. The government has established a legal framework to facilitate revenue collection and allocation. Some of them include the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda 1995, the Petroleum Exploration, Development and Production Act 2013, the Petroleum Refining, Conversion, Transmission and Midstream Storage Act 2013, the Public Finance Management Act 2015.
we believe our government has tried to put in place the necessary legal and policy framework to be able to facilitate a sustainable sector. And we believe that the reason for this is to make sure we patch up gaps so that we are able to translate into real revenue.
Fundamental provisions of the laws aim to benefit the public. For example, the Public Finance Management Act 2015 establishes the Petroleum Fund. Oil revenues from oil and gas is supposed to go into this fund. The fund is meant to be strictly for development expenditure and not recurring expenditure on infrastructure. How has this turned out?
Infrastructure is a very wide concept. Infrastructure can be roads, can be airports, and the roads also can be so many. But if you want to have a good audit trail, then as you appropriate, make the proper disclosures. If we did that, I'm sure the stakeholders, the citizenry, would be a lot more satisfied with the transparency.
I think the bigger challenge that we have is to show that transparency has a positive result. And that positive result is that this resource has been managed frugally, but also very well to be able to develop the country and to transform the country, Uganda.
So we want also government to publish what it is receiving from this sector so that the citizens can put our leaders to account for whatever monies they are getting, specifically from this extractive sector.
Uganda has now joined the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. This is a milestone to ensure more openness and public participation. EITI is an initiative that requires governments and industry players to disclose how much revenue governments are receiving and other related impacts.
The moment we talk about Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative and still get excited about Uganda's new step to join EITI without involving the people, without promoting participation and disclosure of information, will still be closed, because committing to join is one thing, but walking the talk is something different.
The ultimate aim of collecting revenue is to benefit Ugandans. So far, the tax revenues have generated over 90% of the total revenue from oil and gas. 5% has come from non-tax revenue.
I think it is very important that we review the Public Finance Management Act to put in those safeguards that can help us monitor, manage, and utilize the public resources so that we are able to hold government to account.
We have done some tremendous effort in terms of raising awareness on the provisions of the laws, especially with the related to finance, distribution of resources, and even reaching out to the host communities such as district local governments in the Alberta and Rift, which most of them are host districts. But we also appreciate that there is still a very big challenge when it comes to understanding details.
We are engaging policymakers and other stakeholders to make sure that where there are loopholes, especially in the legal regime, they are closed.